What's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today, doing the champions report for the middle of the year, the halfway point of the year. We are there, and we're heading in. We're in July now, and heading into the second half of the year. And it's important to get our champions report and where they're going and what they're doing for every title. Now, this video is on the Wba Regular Championship, which we still have 7 of those titles between 122 pounds and the heavyweight division, as the WBA is continuing to try to consolidate those belts, but it's taken a little bit longer because of undisputed champions and big name fighters have gotten in the way, but not a bad thing. It's keeping things interesting. So let's run through the 7 divisions and what's happened so far, and see what could be coming up, and if by the end of the year we're going to have any more consolidated belts. So there is no regular champion at 122. At 126 featherweight, the regular champion is Leigh Wood. He entered the year as champ, and in March he made a mandatory defense against Michael Conlan, with the caveat that the winner would be fighting super champion Leo Santa Cruz in a mandatory fight. Now, Leigh Wood went in there behind on the scorecards, came from behind and knocked out Michael Conlan brutally in the 12th round to retain his title, and now is in line to fight Leo Santa Cruz. And the last thing I read was that the negotiations are still going on, and both sides still want this fight to happen. So hopefully this fight gets made and nothing gets in the way with it. Santa Cruz agreed earlier this year that he would remain the champion, even though he hasn't defended that title or been in anything in about 3.5 years now. Anything at 126, he's been allowed to stay champion, and this mandatory fight has to happen or Leigh Wood's going to be upgraded to full champ. So this belt should be consolidated down to 1 champion by the end of the year. 130 does not have a regular champion. 135 lightweight does, and that is the undefeated Javonte Tank Davis. He entered the year as champion, and in May he defended the title against Rolando Romero, and it was an interesting bout. You can argue, either way, heading into the 6th round, and then Davis caught Romero cold and knocked him out. A great knockout, nice finish. Javonte Davis keeps his belt. There's been no order, and it doesn't look like there's going to be one for Davis to fight the super champion and undisputed champion Devin Haney, because Haney has to make a mandatory rematch with George Kambosos. So it doesn't look like we're going to have a consolidated champ at 135 anytime soon, probably not till next year. Now, where does that leave Davis? Davis right now, I know there's a lot of talk. A lot of people want to see Javonte Davis and Ryan Garcia. Garcia's got to get through Javier Fortuna first in July, in the middle of the month, which most people feel he will. And if he beats him, the end of the year is open for both men. But will they fight each other? Will the promotions get in the way? Can this fight even be made? I'm hoping so, but if not, I think there's a real possibility that Davis could fight Michel Rivera, a lightweight contender on the rise. So we'll see what goes down. I just hope David steps it up in his next defense and takes on somebody legit. We'll see what happens. Excuse me. 140 does not have a regular champion, but 147 does. Radza Butayev entered the year as the undefeated and newly crowned champ, but he had a mandatory defense to do in April on the Ugas and Spence undercard, and he took on Imantas Stanionis, who was an undefeated prospect on the rise. And Stanionis, in a tough effort, got a deserving split decision win over Butayev and is your new champion now. So congratulations to Stanionis. Now, he was penciled in to fight the new WBA super champion Yordenis Ugas, but it looks like he is willing to step aside to allow an undisputed title fight to happen between Errol Spence Jr., the new champ, and Terrence Crawford. So I don't believe we're going to see a consolidated champ by the end of the year unless those two guys fight and the winner gives up his belt, and then Stanionis would get upgraded. But Stanionis, in my opinion, is probably going to fight prior to that, and I'm interested interested in seeing who he's going to fight, considering he's a PBC guy. I'd love to see him and Jaron Ennis. I'd love to see him and Cody Crowley. I'd love to see him and Keith Thurman. So, going to be very interesting to see what pieces fall into play for Stanionis after a proposed showdown between Spence and Crawford gets finalized. So we'll see. 154 does not have a regular champion. 160 middleweight does, and it's Erislandy Lara. Lara entered the year as champ, and in May on the Davis and Romero undercard, he defended his title against veteran Spike O'Sullivan, broke down and dominated O'Sullivan, stopping him in only 8 rounds as he retained his title. Now, we really don't know where we're going next with, we really don't know what's happening next for Erislandy Lara. He's waiting around. We don't know if the PBC is going to hand him an opponent like Carlos Adames, or, you know, Brian Castano possibly moving up to 160, Sergey Derevyanchenko. Jamal Charlo doesn't seem interested. So who is going to be next for Lara? It doesn't look like the belt's going to be consolidated by the end of the year unless Triple G decides what he's going to do after Canelo. If Triple G defeats Canelo, he likely would stay at 168, but there's also a chance he moves back down. And it's more likely that, you know, Triple G comes on the losing end of that fight against Canelo, the third one, and then moves back down to 160. Now, he says he has no plan to retire. Like, he's not thinking about that right now. Triple G said that. So, would he face, you know, Erislandy Lara, the regular champ? Would the WBA order that fight? I think they might. And I think he's more likely to fight his WBA mandatory than his IBF mandatory, which is Esquiva Falchao. But that fight doesn't make any sense because Falchao's not a big name. Lara's a name. He's an older fighter. It'd probably be a good banger fight right there between Triple G and Lara. So that would make sense, but I don't believe it happens before the end of the year. So what happens then? Does the WBA order Lara to fight the #1 contender, which is Chris Eubank? There's a lot of options, a lot of unknown. Hopefully we know something more after Triple G and Canelo 3 happens on September 17th. So we'll see. 168, the regular champion at super middleweight, is undefeated David Morrell. Morrell, in June, he entered the year as champion in June. He took on Little No Calvin Henderson, dominated him with a 4th round TKO win, retaining his title. Now there's a strong chance that Morrell and undefeated interim champion, former 2-time champion Benavidez, there's a good chance they fight each other in the second half of the year. Morrell has been calling out Benavidez, saying that he's ready for him, and he's also ready for a Caleb Plant or Anthony Durrell. And the fight with Benavidez makes a lot of sense because I've been telling people Benavidez being the interim champion of the WBC and Morrell being the regular champion sums up to the same thing. And if Canelo gives up or decides to, or if he's forced to make a mandatory at some point, he's going to have to fight, most likely, the winner of the Battle of the Davids, Benavidez or Morrell. And it's a huge opportunity for both the Davids. And if Canelo gives up the belts, whoever wins that war between Morrell or Benavidez would be upgraded to 2 belts and be a unified champion. So it's huge. So we're going to see what happens. Hopefully that's the fight that gets made. I do believe it is going to be made before in the second half of the year, and I'm really excited to see that showdown. We do not have a regular champ at 175. We do at cruiserweight. It's Riyad Merhi. It's unknown what the hell's going on with Merhi. He's been the regular champ, but he hasn't fought in a long time, and we have no clue what he's doing next. So I'm hoping we hear something at any moment, but we really don't know. And I don't know if they're going to order Merhi to fight Goulamirian, the super champion, which would be a rematch of a fight that Goulamirian won. That's Merhi's only defeat. But it doesn't look like they're planning on doing that anytime soon. So are they going to order Merhi to fight the #1 contender, former champ Junior Dorticos. It's right now, it's very up in the air. Haven't heard anything. I'm really pissed off and disappointed about it, because this should be an easy one for the cruiserweight division for the WBA to call, but for some reason we don't know. So hopefully we just hear that Merhi's coming back and defending the title at all sometime soon, but I honestly don't know. And finally, the heavyweight division, we have a new champion, and it's Daniel Dubois. Trevor Bryan was undefeated and headed into the year as a champ, and in June he made a mandatory defense against Dubois, and Dubois came out and dominated Trevor Bryan, knocking him out in only 4 rounds as he captured the WBA regular belt. Now, it doesn't look like the belts are going to be consolidated anytime soon, as Alexander Usyk, the unified and super champion of the WBA, is going into a mandatory rematch with Anthony Joshua in August. Now, the winner of that fight is likely not going to be ordered to fight Dubois by the WBA, because a potential Tyson Fury fight for the undisputed title would be on the line. So at the end of it, it doesn't look like the WBA heavyweight title, the regular belt, is going to be consolidated. So how many divisions do I really think are going to be consolidated down by the end of the year? Of these 7, are we still going to have 7 regular belts left at the end of 2022? The heavyweights is a no. The cruiserweights, possible, but I'm going to say no. The super middleweight title, I think, is a no. The middleweight title, as of right now, I think it's a no, but it could happen. I think there's a possibility there. I think the same thing with the welterweight title. It could be the same situation. It's possible. I'm going to say no for now, but it is very possible that that belt can be consolidated. The lightweight title is a no. And then the featherweight title, I believe, is a yes. So I think we're going to have 6 regular belts left by the end of the year, with potentially being down to 3 or 4. But I think 6 for sure, potentially only 3 or 4 left, as the WBA continues to consolidate their belts. So we'll see what happens, but that's it. That's the mid-year champions report on the WBA regular titles between the 7 divisions that they're still in, between 122 pounds and heavyweight. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.